Welcome back. Well, today marks World Day of Social Justice. It seeks to highlight the importance of equal access to opportunities, education, health and wealth. South Africa still suffers high levels of education inequality. Ari Katz from Boston Online Home Education joins us now to discuss how to address that challenge, but also how education can be used to ensure better social justice. Ari, thank you so much for your time this morning. I mean, the inequalities that exist within the South African context are ones that cannot be ignored. In fact, ones that have been exacerbated by the realities of a pandemic and the like, but something here that we are missing when it comes to inequality is the issue of education in the country. Just how unequal is our education system?
Well, good morning, Faith, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I think what is fundamental is to address some of the fundamental issues. And to me, the two fundamental issues are, first up, the lack of reading for meaning, number one, and secondly, the mathematics abilities of our learners. We know that there was a study done that at grade 4 level, 22% of learners were able to read for meaning. Now, that is shocking. That means 78% of our grade 4 learners do not have reading for meaning. And if they don't have reading for meaning, they're not going to be able to progress their education level. Along those lines, similarly, the TIMS study for mathematics indicated that at a grade 9 level, only 41% of learners were able to adequately perform mathematical calculations. Now, that in itself is a basis for poverty and unemployment in the future. So we need to address those urgently.
Yeah, I mean, addressing those urgently requires political will, being able to have that seamless, so to say, value chain, or when it comes to the education provisions actually working. It requires a lot of us parents even coming to the party in that regard. But is that all happening? I mean, at this point in time, when we're seeing the statistics and the realities of the education system and our children are suffering as a result, one wonders, are we really doing anything about it?
Now, I don't believe that we're doing enough. I mean, President Ramaphosa promised that by 2030, all the grade 10 learners would be able to read for meaning, and the current projection shows that only 36% of us will be there. So we're definitely not doing enough. Along those lines, similarly, we know that 50% of our grade 1 learners who entered grade 1 will probably only land up getting to matric. That means half our learners are not even getting a school education. And when we talk about an economy which is going to be based, the future economy is going to be a digital economy, which is really going to revolve around STEM. So how do we possibly expect our future graduates to be able to compete in the digital economy if only 50% of them are ever going to get to matric? I mean, along those lines, there was a study that was done recently where first-year B.Ed students were given primary school mathematics tests, and they were only able to score 52%. Now, these are students who are studying to be teachers. They were only able to score 52% in a primary school mathematics test. And final year B.Ed students were only able to score 54% in. So if our teachers are not going to be able to pass the tests, how are they going to actually teach our learners of the future? So clearly there needs to be some significant changes taking place.
Ari, what does the future of this country look like if we continue along this trajectory?
I think we need some fundamental changes. First up, we need to ensure that we have a curriculum that, besides reading for meaning, which is a given, we need to, for example, embrace in mathematics, as the TIMS survey shows, we need to embrace higher order thinking. We need to teach people to be able to think for themselves. It's not just about rote learning, but about interpretation, analysis, what's called higher order thinking. And until we embrace that kind of thinking, and we embrace the digital economy, we embrace online learning, we take advantage of some of the resources that are available in online learning, things like artificial intelligence, where we can do predictions, where we can do personalized learning. Until we embrace those technologies, I think it's going to be extremely difficult for us to actually join the international competitive landscape.
Does that mean that we're going to have a lot of young people out of jobs and a lot of young people that are sitting idle at home if they cannot read for meaning, if they cannot be taught adequately because the teachers are lacking in certain areas and being able to teach them adequately? If we're sitting with a situation where we don't even have, looks like we don't even have the political will to change the curriculum. So does that mean a lot of young people are going to be sitting at home in the not so distant future?
Well, the prediction is that in the future, 80% of jobs are going to be based on the digital economy. Now, we know that South Africa rated second last in the World Competitive Survey on the digital landscape. So unless we embrace this digital economy, yes, we're going to have the current unemployment rate is only going to increase because the future competitor is not going to be your neighbor. The future competitor is going to be somebody who's living in a place where you've never been to and you've never seen. And the only way you're going to be able to compete with that person is actually to compete digitally. And so we need to embrace this digital economy. We need to embrace digital teaching and learning. We need to embrace the technologies that are available for us, or alternatively, we're going to actually have great unemployment.
That's Ari Katz, the education specialist at Boston Online Home Education. On that note, it's a very sobering note, isn't it?